everyone. Welcome to Flowering Creativity. This is the podcast where we explore the lives of creative people and provide practical tips for helping you to achieve and sustain your creative lifestyle and goals. With me today, I have Sara Olsen. Born in Brazil, Sao Paulo, 1994, Sara Olsen left everything behind to go after the life she's always wanted, to work with music and in the entertainment industry while living in London. Sara Olsen's songs are created based on her feelings. She finds in music a way to put out what she can't always do in person. Her beliefs, frustration, love, expectations are put into the lyrics and melodies created originally by her. Music is what keeps her alive, and she will never stop creating because, as she says, I make music and music makes me. So, welcome, Sara. Thank you for being on Flowering Creativity.
Hey, hello. Thanks for having me, Matt.
So, I really have been enjoying your music, and one of the things that inspired me specifically to ask you to come on to this podcast was the fact that you write a song and then put out like 3 or 4 different videos for that song. And like I just thought that was so cool because like I would always limit myself to just, putting out like, just maybe the one video or maybe like like a live video and eventually like a thumbnail video or something, but you're doing
Mm.
full music videos and lyric videos and behind the scenes videos. And I don't know,
Yeah.
it's just really inspiring.
I
Talk
think
about your music for
this,
a minute.
I think this era is all about visuals as well, not just music. Music goes along, but because of the internet, we have to think as the people watching it. So they want more content about one specific thing. So if you think about the internet and everything that is around it, you know that they want to see things that are sort of repetitions of the same things, but in different ways. So that's why I chose to do as many visual content as I can from the music that I create, because I think like it's a way to keep the music going and surviving and alive.
Yeah, and I always like your acoustic versions too. I think of all of them, they're my favorite. I have a special place in my heart for acoustic.
Me too.
It's the most real. I mean, not that studios is fake or anything, but it's when you have that connection to an artist in person, and that they're playing and singing or whatever. I mean, that's like
Yeah.
it's really intimate. So let's share this wonderful package that you made for us. So everybody, this is Sara Olsen's sample here.
I'm drunk again. And this time I don't even bother to pretend. I just wanna see your face. Feel you running through my veins. I'm drunk again. And I don't know what else to do. I don't know what is the truth. I just wanna be with you. It's so hard to say the 3 little words being sober. Guess my pride isn't overnight. I'm drunk again. Oh, I don't know what's real anymore, but I feel it all on the floor. When you walk out the door, 'cause I'm drunk again. And there are so many things I left unsaid.
Very good, Sarah. I like that. I really like that song. One of my favorite parts of it is all the background vocals. I don't know. I really feel like it makes it. And in the acoustic version, I was almost, wishing you could somehow do that, that drunk again echo thing. I like it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I
Don't worry.
could, but then wouldn't be a live performance.
Yeah. Anyway, we were talking about, how you make all these different versions of your videos, and that inspired me to make there was actually another group as well on YouTube that they made a really cool lyric video,
Yeah.
and it inspired me. I was like, well, hey, I have this rock opera, so why not make a lyric video for it? And it was a horribly mammoth task. But then the beautiful thing is then I get to cut it up into 33 little lyric videos, one for each of the songs in the 2 hour rock opera. And so it's
Yeah.
given me, 33 weeks of weekly content, you know? So I feel like that's really cool. And then another friend, Rob Barkley, he gave me the idea of he was doing this live streaming thing where he was just like
Yeah.
playing all of his recordings on from playing saxophone. Like he did like the 24-hour live stream of just like his recordings. So I definitely want to do something like that too. Like I'll like just like live stream my rock opera. I don't know. I think that might be cool.
I think that might be cool. I have a
We'll see.
friend that he does like some kind of he live streams when he's creating music and stuff, and then he posts in pieces in social media, and it's so cool because he can just create more content out of the content that he did like once.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm just getting into like using two cameras. I just finally when I got a new computer, now the camera that I was using is now a second camera, so that's really cool.
Ooh,
Yeah, and it's kind
fancy.
of yeah. I'm trying to like when I'm sitting up on a stool, I'll have like the one camera for my face and then the other camera for my guitar, or like if I'm playing saxophone, like on my
Mhm.
hands, because with the wide view, it's hard to get the vertical
Yeah,
playing unless you're like way zoomed back or whatever. But
yeah.
I'm in a tiny little space.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, I was watching your behind the scenes video, and you have a nice studio. It looks really nice.
Actually, it's just like a little corner in my room,
That's
but
all you
because
need.
of the perspective of the video, it looks like a completely different space. Yeah,
Yeah, I could probably trick you like that too.
yeah.
That's really
You can have a
cool.
guess.
So, I mean, obviously, music is creative work, and flowering creativity is all about um, you know, obviously being creative and trying to stay creative. And you know, one of the ways that I've seen you use creativity in your work is creating all these different versions to keep your songs alive. And I like I said, I think
Mhm.
that's a great idea. Do you have any other and all the different visuals like you were saying? Do you have any other ways that you use creativity in your work that you like to talk about?
I think I use a lot in the promoting my music. Everything about the music, I try to find ways to be creative, to put it out there, and to try to reach as many people as I can, you know? Like I discovered, for example, that if you add a picture to your posts on the community or on Facebook, then you have more chances to that post to get to an audience, to more people. So you just have to kind of like use the creativity to keep the pictures coming because sometimes people just want to see little pieces of your life. They're interested in anything that you post because it is something new, it's something that they've never seen before. So being an independent artist is about finding creative ways to do everything, to be honest.
Yeah, you have to do so many things. Um, and I mean, we're just talking about, you know, like the old model of, doing gigs and making your recordings. Now there's this new model of,
Yeah,
streaming instead of doing, in person gigs, and it's totally different. Um,
completely.
it's intriguing though. And I'm definitely interested in it. Um, you know, the live streaming is that's the one stone that I haven't turned over yet. Like I just did one the other day, and
Mm.
I don't know. Maybe you can help me with it. The audio interface on it, it's just like a couple of little circles, and it's like really confusing to me to tell like when I have the right volume because it's not like a regular audio meter. And
Yeah.
like what I discovered is that like most of the time my audio is distorted, and yet people are still having trouble hearing me. If that makes sense, I don't know
So
why.
weird. Oh,
I don't.
sorry.
I just got to keep doing it until I get it right. I think, but I'm open to any suggestions.
Yeah, for me, like I just mainly I do live streams on TikTok every other day and on Instagram. I've never done it on YouTube. I intended to do it this year, but it was like because I grew up so much on TikTok, then I started to focus my live stream attention into that app.
Okay, I'm not really. I haven't used TikTok much. That's more. I'm a freaking. I'm one of the youngest generation Xers. So I'm just barely getting into all this stuff. Yeah. My daughter's a Zoomer, and she teaches me all kind of crazy stuff.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Okay, we got to get serious. I'm really enjoying all this fun, frivolous talk, but we're in a pandemic. It's still going on. I mean, we're almost to a year now, or I guess it will be a year now by the time this airs on April 1st for America.
Yeah.
I mean, how has this pandemic affected you and your creativity and your work?
Um, in many ways, the pandemic really sucked for many people and for myself as well. I believe that one of the things that the pandemic, not the pandemic itself, but the fact that everything was closing and everybody had to be at home helped me was to kind of give me a push to go and pursue my dreams into music and entertainment. Because before the pandemic, I was working a corporate job over 60 hours a week, and I had no time to do anything. So, whatever I was doing on the internet was using the little drop that was left in me, little drop of hope that was left in me. But I was
Hmm.
tired all the time and I was killing myself over trying to balance two lives that obviously the corporate life took so much out of me. It was sucking my life out of my body.
Hmm.
So when the pandemic came, I was able to kind of like, I had to stay at home. So there was no way to do any other thing. There was no one hiring for any other jobs. Nothing was happening. And even though I tried to, so I tried to focus on the things that were giving me pleasure. My music, for example, was one of them.
Hmm.
Of course, my mental health was all over the place because honestly, you can't just say that you don't stress about paying your bills, like if I don't pay my rent, where will I live? Will they kick me out? What's going to happen? All this just uncertain things that we really we really worry when we are living as an adult in the world, um in a pandemic.
Hmm.
So I tried to focus on whatever I could, which was my music, my creativity, and those things, even though I was at the same time trying to get well mentally speaking, do not stress as much and
Hmm.
to survive.
Yeah, I know what you mean because I was in a similar situation. Um, I didn't have a really good paying job at the time, but I was trying to start my own business, and it
Mhm.
was going well, although it was extremely young, And then when the pandemic hit, it was like, okay, the biggest thing that affected my family was my daughter not being able to go to school. She's still not
Yeah.
able to go to school, still now.
Wow.
Yeah, it's she's home doing her thing on this iPad they gave her, um, and so that was somebody had to be here with her to make sure that she's doing her things and going to school and
Yeah.
eating and taking care of herself and all this stuff. So yeah, and so I wasn't really doing anything with YouTube, and the pandemic really got me to start focusing with, well, hey, I guess I have to do something online, right? Because I can't just go out and play now. And
Hmm.
that was the biggest bummer, man. I love to play live music so much. It's just like I've never missed anything so much, like, you know,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be great to go back out and play again. I don't know when. How's it looking in the UK? Are you going to be able to start doing gigs again soon, or?
As far as people are telling me, apparently our government is trying to set everything up to start opening again on June. So things will start opening until June, and on June it should be back to normal. What is normal? I don't know. I don't really know what is normal anymore.
Okay, talking about normal, a daily routine for me is to try to get outside and get some exercise, get some fresh air. Is there anything that you do, daily to try to get you and keep you feeling creative in your life?
I do have a daily routine, which I'm still trying to find a balance on it because it's very hard to have the dimension of time when we are stuck inside. Um, but I try meditating and doing a journal with my morning pages, just putting out everything that is in my head and trying to bring good discussions with myself.
The artist way? Are you?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
just personal in every single way. Um, and I try to do some exercising, having some tea, coffee, do some vocal warm up, sometimes 5 minutes vocal warm up, sometimes 20 minutes vocal warm up, just to try to keep it working. And then I just try to keep my day working around the things I have to do, if I have to release things or not, and what I have to do or don't. But basically, that's it.
Right on. You know, one of the things that I love about singing is that, I mean, it is a meditation if you want it to be. And if you've
It
seen
is.
the videos where I'm reacting to my teacher, Floor Jansen's
I saw it.
vocal master classes, you know,
Oh,
the way she explained the breathing in the second episode, where, every breath you're training your belly to just gradually squeeze to exhale all the air, and you just automatically do that.
yeah.
That's the same way you breathe in yoga when you're
Yes.
meditating, when you're breathing.
Yes.
And so, like, doing your vocal exercises, like, you're bringing attention to your belly, but you're also bringing attention to your voice and to your ears. If
Yeah.
you can hold attention in all those places at the same time, you're not thinking. That is a meditation. It's beautiful.
It is. What I like the most about this is that meditating can be anything that makes you stay in the present moment, focusing on what is here right now.
You're
So,
speaking my
if, for
language.
example, yeah, if you're out on a exercising and you're just paying attention to how the wind touches your skin or how your body is, like your foot's touching the floor every time, that can be considered as meditation. So every time I get angry or something like that, I try to just focus on the breathing. That's what this it has been helping me a lot to go through everything.
Absolutely. The artist way is something that I'm familiar with. Some of the other people that I've had on here have talked about it. Emily Brown talked about it. Shout out to Emily. And she was the one that said "write drunk and edit sober." From I just love that. That's stuck with me, and it's gonna always stick with me. Don't edit yourself like the morning pages, right? You could be writing the nastiest, most horrible thing, and you might not even mean it, but like, get it out. Just
Yeah,
don't stop yourself. Don't censor yourself. If you need to
yeah,
burn the page afterward because you can't believe you wrote it,
do
that's
it.
okay. Just get it out. I love that. It's so awesome.
Yes, it's really powerful. I think we don't emphasize this enough, that the power that we have in the words that we speak and that we write. We don't understand the dimension of this. Like, this should be taught in schools. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tripping.
Oh no, 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 absolutely. Like my complaint about education has always been that school teaches you what to think, not how to think for yourself. You
Yeah.
know, and there's just there's so many things in school, at least where where the way I grew up, the way I was taught, where stuff was just like pretty blatantly wrong. But like I
Mm.
remember I had one history teacher, and this guy was he was straight, and he said, look, I'm going to teach you what it said in this book, but you got to learn, you know how to think for yourself and determine where the bullshit is. Because like for every war, who wrote the history? The people that won, because the losers were dead, right? They couldn't write the history. So do you think they wrote the history exactly the way it really happened? Or do you think they wrote the history to glorify themselves and to make the people that they conquered look like less than human, so that way it was justified and they were heroes, right? And I had this teacher, and he changed my whole life, because he was like, you can't you can't you just got to take everything with a grain of salt, and then do
Yeah.
your own research and make up your own mind.
Yeah. That's so powerful. That's beautiful.
Every school should have a teacher like that, for you know
Yeah.
what I mean. And like a future guest that I'm gonna have, I haven't set up the date yet, but I don't know if you're familiar with Eleanor Goldfield. She's a
Mhm.
creative artist, musician, poet, and she's a journalist, filmmaker, and a political activist. I'm so excited to be having her in the next month or two. um, and she argues that everything is political. You can't make something not political. It's
That's
impossible.
actually, yeah, I agree with that.
It's powerful, to
It
really.
is.
So that means even, the public education that kids are getting in school is political.
It is.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm trying to make my channel like, oh, this is not a political channel, you know?
Hmm.
But I mean, like, I sort of do agree. Well, there's an element of politics to it. There has to be, because I'm talking about relationships of people and music and stuff. And I mean, if nothing else, the videos I'm talking about copyright and that stuff, that's like music politics and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, this is a big tangent.
It makes sense though. Makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense.
you're so easy to talk to. I love it, and the delay is so much better than it used to be. All right, let's have a little coffee here. Let's
Yeah.
let's give a shout out to Khalifa Cold Brew Coffee.
Lethal.
I am willing to accept a sponsorship.
Come on. Come on.
I'll be like Kyle Kalinske, the big seltzer sellout. I'll be the cold brew sellout guy. Okay. What challenges have you faced, Sarah, that have disrupted your
Hmm.
creative flow?
I think the most challenged I've been, it's to face the mental breakdowns that I've been having, because since the start of the whole thing that has been happening, it's just it's hard not to worry how will I pay my bills tomorrow, you know?
Hmm.
But I had to learn how to deal with this and how to make peace with the unknown, because we are at the point that there is no way no, there's no way to know what's going to happen tomorrow. So
Hmm.
just hoping for the best.
Yep. Yep. Definitely. I've been on the pandemic unemployment, and in America they keep yo-yoing, whether you're getting extra help, or whether you're getting, the teeniest little bit of crumbs. It's been back and forth, and
Yeah.
they say they're gonna do one thing, and then they don't do anything, or they change it, or they just take their sweet time, or I don't know, man. It has been very, very, very stressful. But the good news is that, like, think about, like, when somebody makes, you know their waste, right? Animals, they make their waste, right? And then that becomes part of the soil, right? That
Mhm.
waste is actually necessary in order for that
Mhm.
soil to be fertile eventually, so that, new plants and new life can grow from it. And, it could maybe grow food or whatever. And so, as we're talking about, these struggles, um, there's been a lot of fruit that's come out of it for you, just like me. Like when before the 2020 started, my YouTube channel had maybe 130 subscribers, and now I have 10 times that number because I had the time to put into it. And I'm sure you've seen some pretty
Yeah,
major growth as well.
definitely, definitely. And I'm grateful for that because I don't think I would have had the time if I wasn't stuck inside of my house.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, I think about everything that's happening and how sad everything is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, it's just like very difficult to deal with everything. But I get what you're saying. Maybe we have to start thinking about things through another perspective, just in if we want to survive, if you want to keep living. Maybe trying to see things through the perspective of, okay, everything is kind of weird right now, but at least I'm being able to do this and this and that. So I get your point.
Well, and another thing, I really like all the collaborations that you've been doing, and I wanted to talk about. Remember when we did the copyright video? You talked about your video with Andy Dawson and how you had to do the dispute. You were just recently talking to me on Facebook about some new issue you were having. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I don't really understand what's going on, to be honest, but basically, I released a performance, an acoustic performance of the same song at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, and it was fine. And a couple of days or a week ago, I don't know when, I started to realize that whenever I click that video, it will go to a video of some someone like playing with Legos, just some Legos and a little storytelling, like a sketch. But
So instead of
I
seeing
thought,
your video, they see some other YouTube video.
yeah, but I thought, no, maybe that's just a mistake, like a glitch, because I'm doing it on my phone. Maybe my phone is redirecting my link to something else. So I was fixing my videos the other day,
Mm-hmm.
then putting in a playlist and everything and putting in order. And I saw that the video was literally, it was my name, my channel, everything there. It was mine. But the video inside, what was supposed to be the acoustic performance of at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
it's this Lego video that I have no idea where it came from. In the comments were disabled. So I will never figure it out. I will never like figure out why. Probably they were disabled because this is probably a video for kids because it's Lego, right? So disable the comments because they put
Yeah.
on YouTube Kids.
Yeah, that's the one
Um,
way. That's the most common way to. You could also manually disable comments, but yes.
yeah, exactly. So I was like, there's no way nobody hacked my channel because I have this two authentication factor and so many other steps that you have to go through to log into my channel.
Oh, I know.
And
I just moved and I just got a new computer, so man, I know all about all the steps, transferring everything. It's okay. Luckily, I got a really good. Not the most expensive new computer, but I got a really good new computer, and that really helped a lot. Um,
that's good.
yeah. So, are you an Apple person? I'm not an Apple person.
I have things from Apple, yeah, but it's not like I only would have things from Apple. It's just because it makes it easier for me to edit and everything
Mhm.
since I'm used to it
Well,
for
yeah.
such a
See,
long
that's
time.
that's why I don't use Apple because I'm used to the Windows, and I don't really even like it.
Yeah.
But I've just been using it since I was a kid, and like the software that I have, like I use Reason for my DAW. I already paid for it, so why buy a whole nother DAW or like buy the Apple version? to
Yeah.
spend more on my computer. Anyway, it's an MSI computer. I don't know. It's actually pretty good. I'm happy with it so
Mm,
far.
sounds
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I have an interesting thing. It's not as interesting as yours, but my interesting complication on making videos is this screen. It's actually a gaming computer, which I'm not a big
Oh,
gamer. I did buy a gaming computer and a set of gaming headphones in order to make this whole thing much easier, because to buy the same computer that says it's for music or video editing, I'd spend another $500 just because it says it's for music or video editing. So
and the
that's why.
gaming is as good as the other one, to be
It
honest.
even has for the microphone. It even has like um, noise suppression. So for my video podcast, it's perfect, because like if
Yeah,
somebody's making noise out there, you're not going to hear it. It's just going to get
yeah.
my mic. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. But here's the issue: it has a 240 HZ screen, and I'm used to a 60 HZ screen. So whenever I watch a video on it, it always looks like the video's ahead of the sound, like always. So when I was first editing my first video, I did that mashup. Like it just looked wrong. Like
Oh
and
my
so and
God.
so I moved my audio, and then when I rendered it, I put it on YouTube, and then everybody's like, "Dude, your video's not in sync." And then I'm like,
Um,
and it was my fault because I moved it because it looked wrong. And then I like went onto YouTube and I was watching other people's YouTube videos, and on my screen, their videos look wrong. It looks like the
no.
audio is a little bit late. And that's because I have a really super fast gaming display and I'm just not used
Yeah.
to it yet. Right?
You're gonna get used to it. You're gonna get used to
Yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, now I know, like, it's in sync. Just as soon as I put it in, just render it and just trust it. It's in sync.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So anyway, I'm sort of new to this world of video editing. Like, I was just music my whole life. I
Hmm.
never even touched a video until like the end of 2019. So
Wow.
I'm still getting used to all this stuff. Okay. How long have you been editing video for?
A long time. I've been putting videos on YouTube since I'm 14, so it's been some good like at first I used to put it me singing Hannah Montana and I used to edit on the most ridiculous app ever. It was that Windows movie something.
I'll have to
You
check
know,
that
I
out.
don't I don't even remember. It was a really, really weird and old app for rendering and editing music, not music, videos on Windows. So I used to do like really simple cuts and everything and used to put on YouTube. Then I deleted that channel when I got to university because I didn't want people to find me singing Hannah Montana or something like that.
Oh, that's why I haven't seen it. Okay.
Um, so
I think
I
that'd be
ended up
cute.
it was, but I was in university and people were like already making too many questions, and I was like,
Sure,
so
sure, sure, sure.
I had 1,000 people on that channel already, but I deleted it because I was scared of what people would say. Then
You
I
deleted the
literally,
channel? Like the
yeah,
whole channel? Oh,
the
okay.
whole thing, the whole thing. Then when I decided really I want to keep on doing this, I had to create a whole channel from scratch, and it was just so much trouble to get to
Well,
a thousand
you
people
could always
again.
just make a new channel and you could have kept that first channel too. But yeah, I can understand because, when you're at that age, right, you're
You're just
really
impulsive.
destructive. Yeah, really self-destructive, especially if you're
Yeah.
having a period of, self-loathing depression or whatever. Oh, I understand. I understand. The late teenage, early 20s years can be really
Yeah.
rough. Yeah, totally. Since we're talking about that, let's talk about managing our stress. So, how do you
Yeah.
manage your stress? And, like, since the pandemic, is there any way that managing your stress is different?
All right. So, yeah, everything has changed since the pandemic. I can tell you how many times I've tried to pretend things are normal, but everything changed. So I learned how to deal with them. But I used to swallow my stress in sugar when I was younger. I still have this tendency of eating a lot of sweets. And I do have a lot of issues with eating disorders ever since I became a teenager. And back then, when I was eating a lot of sugarish things and eating a lot of crap, I used to find a way to put it all out after doing so, and also spending hours in the gym. So this struggle is something really hard for me to deal with, and I've I've never had treatment for that. So I was only relying on myself to stay strong and focused and controlling my own stress, you know.
Hmm.
But like um with the beginning of the pandemic, everything, like I told you, I had so many mental breakdowns.
Hmm.
And most of it, after the mental breakdowns, I used to go for the sugar and for eating compulsively because of the stress. So
Hmm.
since I couldn't go out to do any exercises, no gym, no anything, I started to gain a lot of weight. And now I'm like, since the beginning of uh, the second half of last year, I started to trying to find ways to deal with this better.
Hmm.
Um, so I've been screaming my pillows and punching my walls with my box gloves, trying to spend my good half hour, an hour on my ergonomic bike that I got. But it has been hard to deal with stress in the pandemic. You don't have many places to go. You don't have many ways to deal with it. So
Hmm.
yeah.
I definitely like okay, so at, for a time in the summer, I was at a pretty close to ideal weight because we were staying at an RV park that was it was like by the river and it was just gorgeous outside,
Oh, so pretty
and
must have
it
been.
was we were literally right we were had rainforest on both sides of us. It was just gorgeous, and so I would go outside just to breathe the air like as often as possible. But then we moved back to the city and we were just like parked next to this dude's house like in his driveway, like renting the space for a while.
Hmm.
And so that was just like straight inside and it was freezing cold. And, before we moved to this wonderful apartment, we had the blizzard and that was crazy because we were supposed to move and then we had to delay moving, this crazy stuff. And it was very, very, very stressful. And, I've been eating probably a little too much and having too many drinks and drunk again and then and my belly is getting a little bit bigger and feeling a little bit uncomfortable. And then, dude, the other day I was cleaning our motorhome after we moved out of it, and I was like literally I was 99% finished, and I moved wrong and I like threw my low back out, and
Oh,
it wasn't bad. It's been worse, but it was enough where it slowed me down for a couple of days. Like, made me really, really. I hurt for a day, and then it was really stiff for like 2 days. Third day, now I was like, it's still a little stiff, but it's almost better. But that was like okay, you know, I am starting to exercise every day again. This is a sign from the universe, right? I
I
have
so
to
get
do
that.
this. I know what you're saying because like if we don't take care of our body, like our mental health suffers. The mind and the body are they're one unit. They're
Yeah.
connected. And so you can't have one suffer without the you know what I mean? Like if
Hmm.
you bring health to
Oh, I
one,
so
health
know what you
follows in
mean.
the other.
Yeah, that is true. That is absolutely true. Like, I miss going out to run and things like that. That's why I got the bike. It's not the same thing by far. It's not the same thing. And now that the days are getting lighter, a little bit earlier, now I can go without anyone because nobody wants to wake up at 5 a.m. to go run. But in the summer, it's easier for me because there's light and I don't feel like so threatened by, oh my God, what if I get murdered or something like that. So, so yeah, now the light's coming outside again earlier, and I might go out for a run when nobody is around. Hopefully, I'll be able to wake up earlier to go.
I say run, but I really mean jog because I don't run fast. Don't make any mistake of it. I mean, I'm over 200 pounds, so I'm not freaking sprinting down the road or anything like I was 20.
No, no. When I mean run, I mean like trying to go as fast as I can and according to whatever is possible.
Right
Some
on.
days I run really slow, which means it's okay as long as you're moving.
Absolutely. One of my favorite parts is just to get outside and breathe.
Oh
It's
yeah,
just wonderful. I talk about it a lot. One of my favorite meditations is to breathe with my steps. Breathe in for 3 steps and
that's
then breathe out for
good.
3 steps. Breathe in for 3 steps and breathe out for 3 steps. And then it's just constantly three. I don't know what it is about three. Three is really just a wonderful number.
I know it is really good number for doing like breath exercises, to be honest. And you know what I love the most about this is that um the air in the morning is completely different from the air in the afternoon.
Hmm.
I don't know if I'm making sense right now, but the first time you breathe outside of your house in the morning is so, I don't know, there is something about it that it fills your lungs differently. It hits differently.
Yeah, well, the air is like different composition, right? It's like a mixture of different stuff everywhere. And so it makes sense, it'd be different at different times. There's probably
Yeah.
the most emissions and things during the day, right? So the air, after being things turned off a little bit at night, is probably a little cleaner in the morning. There's probably a lot of reasons for it. Yeah, and it's just,
Mhm.
it's also, just like that feeling that today's reborn. It's a new day. Like you don't
Perfect.
have to bring that baggage from yesterday with you. Like if you don't want
Hmm.
to, you can start fresh today. Like it's okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a new reset.
So what advice, Sarah, would you offer to someone who's struggling, they're blocked, and they want to be creative again?
All right. So everybody goes through mental creative blocks, and I think the only thing that makes everything worse is to overthink about it. So whenever you're so obsessed with it, oh my god, I can't do anything, I can't write anything, and nothing comes to mind. Well, the only thing that is going to happen is that nothing will stay coming to mind. So I've learned that you can call creativity, like you can summon it inside of you and you can start being creative. But for that to happen, you have to have real constant practice on it. So you have to write down all your ideas, doesn't matter how good or bad you think they are. Whenever they come, just write them down. And when you're in a block, like when you're in a creative block, honestly, what I do is I sit down and I stare at the wall for hours, and whatever pops in my mind, I start writing. And then in the other day, I review it. And if like maybe I can get to do something with them, or new things will come to my mind after that. That works for me for some reason. And then after a lot of practice, you can just summon creativity. You're just like, okay, time to be creative. Ideas on the table. Let's brainstorm, basically.
One of my favorite things about this show is, how like there's some things that pretty much everybody's saying the same thing, and then there's some things where everybody has their own quirky little unique thing, and I love that. And just the other day, my daughter was asking. Me and my wife and my daughter and my brother-in-law were all eating dinner, and my daughter was saying she wanted to write a story, and
Mhm.
she didn't know how to do it. And I said, "Ooh, ooh, ooh! This one's for me. This one's for me." And I was like, "Just start. Just
Great.
start. Like,
Exactly.
don't like worry about. Oh well, I don't know how it's gonna end, or I was like, you know what an outline is, right? Just start with that, and like, leave some empty spaces in your outline, and you can always delete them if you want, but
Yeah.
leave some space so that you could always add or change things and just, and then if you feel like you want to start writing at the beginning, that's cool, but maybe you want to write in the fight scene in the middle first, or maybe you
Hmm.
want to write the ending first and then, construct it in some weird way. Like, you can cut and paste things. Like, you could make like little like post-its in real life or on the computer, right, on your device, to give you little reminders, little sticky notes, right, whatever that is,
Yeah.
when you have the idea, just move on it as soon as possible, right? And I
Yep.
think that's one of the things that pretty much everybody is saying, and I completely agree with that. Even if you don't have time to commit to like developing the idea, just at least give yourself something that you could then recall that idea easier later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
definitely.
That's why I keep so many post-its around. Like you don't see my wardrobe in here, but it's full of sticky notes because whenever anything comes to my mind, and you don't see the background of my computer, it's also with sticky notes. No jokes. But that's really important because when you keep seeing those things, it reminds you that oh yeah, I have to do that. Oh yeah, yeah, this is nice, and it gives you ideas to go and follow along. The last year I had this amazing idea for writing a horror book, and I started it, but I didn't finish yet. But what I did was to develop the story in chapters. So I followed a train of thought to get me to this big happening that is the end of the book, right? So I wrote a bit of how every chapter should be. Like chapter one, this is going to say the background story for what happened when this main character was a kid, and the story goes along. So whenever I have to write a chapter, I know what's going to happen. Not the details, but I know what's going to happen, so I can follow the story until where I get to the point that I want to be. I don't know.
Yeah,
It just makes
that's
sense for
that's
me.
sort of like an outline. It's a little bit more in depth. Like, you kind of fleshed it out a little bit more. That's really cool.
Hmm.
Yeah, and so now
Yeah.
you've got a map of how you want the story to go, and then whenever, you have the time or you feel like it, then you can go in and actually,
Yeah.
write whichever chapter you're feeling in that moment.
Exactly. It's
Very
perfect.
cool. Very cool. So, um, you know, intuition is something that is really important um, in art. And whenever you're embarking on a project, right? Are you the
Hmm.
type of person that plans everything out like we were just talking about, like detailed, or are you like more of the intuitive person? You catch the flow and then you just ride it. I mean,
Hmm.
so basically left brain, right brain. Like, how do you combine these two energies in order to be stay and feel creative?
So I like to think that I'm a little bit of both, mainly because I do make scripts for music videos and everything, but I know that if I need some extra things, I'll have to have them in hand because I won't have the time to film all over again, do the same makeup all over again, and stuff like that. So I do what I have in my paper in planning, but I also add some things up on following my intuition along the way. So before, I used to only go with my intuition, very little script, like, oh, I will go around the town and singing the song. And then for editing, that would make my life a hell because I would have to select every single piece of what I wanted. And it's just too much, take up too many hours. So I guess when you go like in the middle term of it, is right where you have to be, like
Yeah,
perfection. Not literally, but you know,
balance.
yeah, balance.
Yeah, there's the yin and the yang, and they both have their purpose, and they both
Hmm.
have they both have their distinct energy, and like they don't substitute for each other. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
Right, drunk,
that's
get it
really.
sober. I love it.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, think about as an artist, how hard we are on ourselves, and that's one of the hardest things to overcome, is that perfectionism. Oh, well, if it's not oh, it's not done yet. Like how many times has somebody asked, me to sing a song for them, and I sing it for them, and then afterwards I'm like, yeah, I'm still working on it. They're like,
Yeah.
come on, man, it was good. But shut up. Like, why are you so self conscious? That's what it is to be an artist. It's like our creation is like our baby, and it's like, we just, we I don't know. We're sensitive about it sometimes. You got to get over that shit and just don't. Who cares? Let it all hang
Yeah.
out. My goal this year is to make a new video every day. I'm starting that.
Wow.
I'm trying. I'm trying to put out a video every single day. Like most day, or a lot of days I'll put out reacts, but then I'm going to put out covers and originals and all this stuff too.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's a lot of
podcasts.
commitment.
Well, I want it, right? When you want it, you go for it, right?
You're right. You're
Right.
right. This is a really big
Okay.
commitment, but it's amazing.
So, passion. Passion is a funny thing. Do you choose your passion or does your passion choose you? For example, like I've always been singing since I was a little kid.
Me
Um,
too.
always. I just like I don't know. I've just like singing has just been something that I just always did. It just came
Hmm.
so naturally to me. And you know, like when I was starting to learn instruments, right? I really chose the saxophone. I feel like singing chose me because it just happened. Like, it wasn't even a conscious choice. Like, do I want to sing or not? It was just, I just sang and I felt good and I did it. But then
Yeah.
saxophone, it was like, hey, I really want to do this. I want to try this new thing. And I chose it out of all the instruments. You know what I mean? But then the
Yeah.
guitar came along. It was just kind of set in my lap, and I needed something to do while I was singing, being like self-conscious, introverted a little bit. You know what I mean? So I would kind of cover myself up with the guitar while I was
The guitar,
singing.
yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that passion just sort of chose me because it just went. So where I'm getting going now. So does your passion choose you, or do you choose your passion?
For me, it's a mix of both as well. Like I've been singing since I'm little, and then I've been asking my parents, like, "Oh, I really want a guitar, 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 guitar." And they eventually, when I was 15, they gave me my first guitar, and I was like, "Yes, now I got to learn it." So singing has been with me ever since I can remember, but the guitar has been with me because I chose it, you know? So it's basically the same thing. And then being a creator, being someone that creates things, I direct my videos, I do everything, the editing and all the other things.
Mm-hmm.
They were things that came along the way because I chose to sing, I chose to make music, and singing came just as naturally as like the music passion. So I think I chose music and music chose me as well. It's kind of like this
Mm-hmm.
two-way road.
Really cool. I couldn't agree more. And passion is funny like that. It's one of those things. It you can bite it or it can bite you. You know,
Yeah.
definitely.
We can
So
bite each other.
you can. You can. Mutual biting can be good. Okay. So moving on to patreon.com. We're going to be doing some bonus shooting here for a couple of bonus questions for Sarah. Everybody, please make sure that you check out Sarah. She has her YouTube channel, her Patreon. Sarah, why don't you take a little bit of time here and tell everybody how they can find you and make sure that they're hip to all the cool things that you're doing.
Right. So I have many social media platforms, to be honest, but the main ones that I use are four: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. On YouTube, youtube.com/ Sara Olsen, and all the others, so Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, I am at It's Sara Olsen. But I think the major way that you can help me by is just by streaming my songs in the digital stores. You can find my songs in over 150 streaming platforms. Just type my name out there or click the link in the bio of my major platforms.
Yeah, and I'll put up as many links as you'll send to me here in the description for everybody, so they can find them right here in this video. Yeah, absolutely. And make sure you guys check out my Patreon, patreon.com/Matthews Music Lesson Studio. You're going to find bonus content from us there, and also on Sarah's bonus sites. So make sure you check them out. Subscribe to both of us, and I'll see you guys next month on Flowering Creativity.